Malindi ni kazi.
Anasikia vibaya sana. Manake akavure kule alafu abebe yale mawe aje akitafuta. Nasikia vibaya.
Siku mwenga nadimani ambe sinda kwenda kwa sababu ya mwili udatsoka. Nahenza nioye, beni oye. Alakisho msana na usindo gonya. Nenda nikamarigise kuku. Yokazi bene yokumuyenye ni sabu yokalaka kuna kitu ndo funala la hari hatu wa mwenga, lakini kalaho ni uwezo naambira na habe kana kitu anangu nza tapa za soka kwa visha ni hulale karana nzala ukicha beni gurengirani ze kukotoni ni ze nole kala hangene kuna mbala kuzambola gari anangu mapate chakula hakumbolele gari mana bakifisha.
Sasa yana nakuja tarawa mawangu yana nasikia naketi nafikiria ndo ule usundo nakuja kwa kigafu.
Iyo guma kwako ni ya kutafuta atafute kapata kazi.
Kazi is a strong woman. She provides for the family, educate the family, take care of the family, do everything for the family.
Anasema hii kazi ni ngumu. Bila kuja kule kwa utansi tutabaki na njaa. Ndio anasema ngoja nitaraga nivumilie ili mpate chakula.
We believe one cannot work alone. You need support of each other. The women here, they have that unity. They work as a group. So it's also a strategy to avoid exploitation.
Hii kazi zehenda muda mwingi na miaka 10 hii kazi.
$736 million. That's the number of people living in extreme poverty around the world today. And almost half that number are children. 356 million. 356 million children living with an increased risk of poor health, malnutrition, insufficient education, forced or dangerous labor, violence, and child marriage. The compounding effects of events like the COVID-19 pandemic and devastating natural disasters resulted in an increase in extreme poverty for the first time since 1998. According to current research, globally, at least 2 million children have lost a parent or grandparent caregiver to COVID-19. Through a common experience, the world has come together as neighbours, bringing compassion for one another like never before. How can we be good neighbours and help the next generation thrive?
There are many problems that they face in this area. Drinking, high rate of teenage pregnancy, There's also petty gambling. The first time I saw Hannah's place, actually my heart really sank because I really couldn't imagine living in that place every day. The place is smelly, lots of garbage. It's not healthy to live there. Hannah was still 2 months old when her mother left them for another family, leaving the father to take care of them.
Papa daw nila, mahal na mahal sila. Sabi na nalaglag pa nga daw sila kasi nga 3 sila. Karga-karga ng papa nila sila.
When Hannah was 2 years old, her father had a heart attack and he died. When you lose your father, every day would be a struggle. Putting food on the table would be the greatest challenge each day.
Children suffer the greatest impact of poverty, but are the least able to change their circumstances. Even as children reach adulthood, the effects of poverty often follow them into the next generation, and the cycle continues. Poverty is hunger. Poverty is lack of shelter. Poverty is being sick and not being able to see a doctor. Poverty is having education and literacy out of reach. Poverty is low self-esteem from being unable to provide for your family. Poverty is losing a child to illness brought about by drinking unclean water because clean water is unavailable. Poverty is a lack of representation and freedom. Poverty is powerlessness. So how do we break this cycle of poverty? What is the answer? In Luke chapter 10, when Jesus was asked what the greatest commandment was, he said this: "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind." As human beings, we are made up of heart, mind, body, and soul. So when we think about a child's development, we need to take a holistic approach to address all these aspects. Jesus was only asked for one command, but he added a second: love your neighbor as yourself. Through the parable of the Good Samaritan, Jesus showed us that our neighbor is anyone that he places in our path to know, to love, and to connect with. Noel Pabiona, the country director of Compassion in the Philippines, explains what it means to be a good neighbor.
A good neighbor is someone who loves others the way Jesus would love them and would be willing to sacrifice whatever it takes to show that love. A child born into poverty has potential that only God sees and needs people around him to be able to release that potential. And those people can be you and me. My heart breaks for children in poverty simply because there is so much potential in them as people created in the image of God. And I believe it is the people of God who were called to make sure that that image really shines and that potential is really released in Jesus' name.
Compassion is a Christian child development not-for-profit that seeks to put love in action. When a child is part of a compassion program, they receive love, support, and care that aims to meet their spiritual, economic, socio-emotional, and physical needs. We call this holistic child development. Holistic child development is an approach that recognizes children as whole beings, each uniquely made and loved by God. It sees each aspect of the human in an integrated way and resists the common practice of treating one area of life as independent of the others. This is why we believe this holistic model of development is the answer to the complexity of poverty. We have seen that transformed children transform their communities. Alistair Sim tells us why there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution to poverty.
Because of the complexity of poverty, both in terms of the context and the conditions of poverty, the multi-dimensional nature of it and the multi-generational nature of it, means that you just can't have a simple solution that deals with only the economic context. That really means if you want to help people lift themselves out of poverty, the solutions need to be diverse, they need to be specific, they need to be locally owned and informed by the best available evidence.
Have you ever wondered how compassion actually works? Since 1952, Compassion International has been working to release children from poverty in Jesus' name. Through a Christ-centered, child-focused, and church-based approach, we have seen over 2 million vulnerable children helped by the love, care, and support they receive. Each developing country where Compassion works has a main office that is responsible for coordinating national staff, overseeing the program, and cultivating local relationships. More than 8,000 local churches in 25 developing countries are the catalysts for change in their communities, reaching out to the most vulnerable children with Compassion's support. Our child sponsorship program is implemented by these churches, comprised of local people who are part of the community they serve. But why do we work through the local church? Our local church partners truly understand their communities. They know exactly what challenges local families are facing and how to help. The local church is present in a community long before the Compassion Partnership begins, and it will be there long after our part is done. But this is not the whole picture. For children living in poverty, the destructive impact of events like natural disasters, pandemics, or the death of a parent or caregiver calls for resources beyond child sponsorship. Compassion responds through 2 key programs that sit alongside our child sponsorship program. Globally, 2.4 million children died in the first month of life in 2019. Our Mums and Babies program provides support and care to vulnerable expectant mothers and children in their critical first year of life. In partnership with local churches, this program ensures mums and babies receive personalized care to meet their more urgent needs. Our second key program is Critical Needs. Critical Needs provides additional support to children, families, and their wider communities through interventions such as water and sanitation, health services, additional education and training, infrastructure, income generation, disaster relief, resources for highly vulnerable children, and the Where Most Needed Fund. Highly vulnerable children are those whose parents have left, died, or are unable to provide for them, as well as children who are exposed to exploitation and children with special needs who require additional care and support. The Where Most Needed Fund is a resource that can be distributed between critical needs interventions to ensure support can be given quickly and effectively in any circumstance. Together, our 3 programs, child sponsorship, mums and babies, and critical needs, support the diverse and sometimes unforeseen needs of each child.
Compassion has been a partner in our church with our vision of helping the children to be out of the poverty. And this survival is very, very important program because the number of mortality rate is getting higher in the Philippines.
Ang survival nga program dako kay siya nga tabangan na mo sila nga makaanak sila nga ang ilahang mga anak safety sila during sa pag-deliver ug ang mama pod safety. Naami lesson, naghisgot me about breastfeeding, naghisgot me about growth monitoring, oral rehydration, family planning, immunization nga makatabang jud sa ilahang anak nga mahimo silang physically healthy.
Pero nung napasok na po ako sa survival. Hindi lang sila financially nag-assist. In-assist din nila kung paano mawala yung takot ko.
Palagi nila akong ganun sinasabihan. Marami silang advice na binigay sa akin. Hindi ko nila pinabayaan atong nga time.
It's a life-changing program.
Holistic child development is tailored to a child's age, gender, health, culture, and family situation. When a child is registered with our program, they receive spiritual guidance through the local church, nutritious food, access to clean water, healthcare, and emotional support from caseworkers, alongside education, recreational activities, and skills-based training. In this way, every aspect of a child's development is taken into account. Every child receives this holistic assistance regardless of their faith, background, or sponsorship status. As they move from childhood through to adolescence and young adulthood, our program ensures that each child receives the care appropriate to their stage of development. When you sponsor a child through Compassion, the beneficiary of your support is your specific sponsored child. But the resources, hope, and support that child receives has a flow-on effect. This means one child's opportunity can be an entire family's breakthrough. So why should you support the work of Compassion?
Well, as a researcher, that comes with a healthy dose of skepticism. So I want to support an organization that is really serious about objectively understanding their effectiveness and continually learning and adapting as a result of that understanding. I'm fortunate to have been in the front seat of that, to see that Compassion is becoming increasingly evidence-informed in our program design and decision-making at the global level, at the national level, and at our local church levels.
Nung pumasok ako sa Compassion Project, pagpasok ko, wala akong inisip kundi pasok lang kasi nga required. Then, hindi nagkasalita, hindi nakikipag-friend sa iba. Galit din kasi parang sinisisi ko siya bakit niya kami iniwan, gano'n. Kundi dahil sa kanya, merong pamilya pero iba pa rin kapag yung nanay mo nandyan. Kapag yung tatay mo nandyan. Nagkatanim po ako ng galit kasi nga parang sila masaya kasi nga may pamilya. Ang camp din parang ang topic po nun is may sama ka ng loob sa parents mo. Surrender mo sa Lord. Tapos doon ko na lahat nalabas. Parang sabi ko parang siguro plano rin siya ng Lord. Hindi naman siguro siya dahil Compassion is napakalaking tulong talaga niya sa amin. Kasi dahil doon nakilala ko si Jesus na dahil sa kanila, sila yung naging instrumento para
Poverty is complex and has a devastating impact on every area of life. Though the need is great, through child sponsorship, mums and babies, and critical needs, the load is being carried holistically. And your support is making a difference. Over 2.1 million children are receiving love, care, and support because of your contribution. Because you choose to be a good neighbor.
Nahenza nangu mashome kwa sababu tafifikari kuna ile maro kwamba kama zangira skuli. Sindele skuli kamani.
because of she can make around $4 per month. And she can take even a month without selling even a single bell.
Najifunira kala salama ni mwanangu. Kwa sababu ya vitendo resho kwamba Mungu anamsaidia nacho. Najisikira furaha sana kala yuni mwanangu.
Sasa napita anafurahisha sana sababu kila mwaka anatumania kila masaa kila mwaka.
Here is something wonderful about Salama. You see, when she came in, she had a poor mentality about what she wants to do. She wanted to break stones like her mother. But through compassion, the program she's undergoing, she came to open up her mind, and now she has chosen a wonderful career. And I think now she's determined to be a teacher.
Nasikia raha sana katika moyo wangu. Na mimi huwa nafikiria vizuri. Kuna maisha mema.
Ndugu zamani mama kasaidika kwa sababu ya kukala. Akikala adapata mafanikio. Ndugu zana manafahika.
Salama one day she'll save the entire family. It may not be tomorrow, but in future the family will turn upside down. It will not be the family we are seeing today just because of Salama.
Naona moyo anakuja mazuri. Lakini nikiwa mkubwa na nitamsaidia mamangu. Ndio naona anakuja mazuri.